Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your service. And yes, I've been digging in the sand again, in old ancient Egypt, and I found something really, really eerie and mysterious, and absolutely glorious as well. Yes folks, as many of you know, this current little phase that we're in now, and I don't mean coronavirus, this current little October Halloween phase, Trick or Treat Studios, in their infinite splendour of latex lunacy, are delivering an absolute avalanche of masks upon us. Old Universal horror monsters, Hammer horror monsters, Scooby-Doo monsters, yes, and they're all coming out at the same time. Now, I've discussed this quite a bit, that we've had to wait through a few delays to get these things, and at present only I think a handful have made it into the UK. But what I'm going to show you here is one of the ones that slipped through the net. And apparently this mask in particular, isn't even new. It came out a while ago this year, and then sort of swept in out of nowhere and was sold out in a blink of an eye. So even though it's part of the new Hammer and Universal, phase of masks they're bringing out, this one had already come out ahead of the bunch, then sold out. Then Mad About Horror, our favourite mask stockist in the UK, got a restock, and it came in, and I got mine, but it sold out pretty much the same day. In fact, I'd say the same hour. It arrived and it was gone again. Such is the splendour of this particular mask. Now, what mask are we talking about? Well, you've read the title, so you know you're already ahead of me. It is the Mummy, Kharis, from Hammer's 1959 version of The Mummy. One of their most elegant, exquisitely photographed by Jack Asher, fabulous makeup, fabulous music by Franz Reisenstein, which you're hearing right now. Franz, rise and shine! And great direction by Terence Fisher, who was, of course, Hammer's absolute stalwart tour de force director. And coming off the back of Curse of Frankenstein and Dracula, or if in America, Horror of Dracula, this was another fiendish role for Christopher Lee. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, Hammer's immortal double act. And once again, Christopher Lee is playing the monster. He's underneath the makeup. He's the fiend. He's the creature. And my God, did he suffer for it this time round. In Curse of Frankenstein, he wears, because Hammer couldn't get the rights to the look of the Boris Karloff, Jack P. Pierce makeup for Frankenstein's monster, he has a look of a car crash victim. Scars and pasty skin and mismatched eyes and all sorts of weird, horrible, gloopy trickery. And then of course Dracula, red eye lenses, fangs and a bit of blood and slick back hair. And then he gets to play the Mummy, and Roy Ashton does the makeup effects for it. And you're going to see what I think is without doubt one of the best masks that I've come across, from not just from Trick or Treat Studios, but for a faithful recreation of a classic monster makeup. This takes some real beating. Now, I know I've got other masks on the way, and boy am I looking forward to them. One's a Universal one, and one's a Hammer one. And a lot of you regular viewers will know exactly which creatures we're talking about here. But I'll get them all eventually, but obviously you've got to watch the moolah at the moment. Too much flippant spendery, and I'm in trouble with Mrs. Kilt-Man all over again. So, Hammer's 1959 The Mummy, with Christopher Lee, the towering, imposing stature of Christopher Lee, swathed in bandages, and because he's been revived and his casket's been brought to England, to the boggy backlot of Bray Studios, and his careless, handymen have dropped the casket containing him, he then is summoned with the scroll of life by Mehmet. It's always a Mehmet, who's doing these things. There's always a fez-wearing Egyptian nefarious soul who is the actual guy controlling the mummy. And obviously, because his tomb has been desecrated, all those who defiled it must die at the bandaged, swathed hands of the mummy himself. So when the mummy arises from the swamp, he's caked in mud, bringing this whole new sort of real, not the typical look for a mummy. And what we have here, folks, this is truly staggeringly good. That is a wonderful, wonderful recreation of the makeup by Roy Ashton for Christopher Lee. Look at the eyes, the baleful, sorrowful, tragic eyes, that face, all the manky encrustment of, the swampland, the mud caked onto him, the desiccated flesh, the last vestiges of bandagery around his neck. Oh my God, it is such a wonderful, wonderful look. And Christopher Lee really inhabits this role with a performance he has to convey by stature and imposing strength and a relentless, kill crazy rampage, albeit slow but super strong. How many times does he crash through someone's French windows, namely Peter Cushing's, as as the guy who digs around in the sand, John Banning, whose father, Stephen Banning, first encounters this thing and then goes crazy and ends up in an asylum where this guy will then come up to the windows, smash the glass, tear the bars out and get inside and strangle him. And then he'll do his rampage through the moors and smashing through French windows, getting shot by police, and then dying in a hail of shotgun blasts by police in the swamps. It is an incredible performance, made and elevated by those wonderful eyes, those baleful, sorrowful. It's weird that in so many scenes he is just this emotionless automaton, this robotic, killing creature, and his eyes convey no mercy. But when he sees Yvonne Furneaux, who plays Isabel, and that's Peter Cushing as John Banning, that's his wife. And in that age-old, scenario, is she a reincarnation of the Princess Ananka, which Kharis, High Priest Kharis, loved? And once she died, he commits sacrilege by reading from the scroll of life to bring her back, but he gets caught in the infamous sequence which they filmed, but it's always cut out. His tongue is cut away, and then he's entombed alive as the mummy. But it's all done out of love. But of course, Isabel, Yvonne Furneaux, is an absolute dead ringer for Princess Ananka. Now, pretty much all the mummy films do seem to have this element. Either they are a genuine reincarnation of his lost love, or they just look just like her, and he can't help himself. So twice he gets thwarted from killing Peter Cushing because she makes an appearance there, and she can control him because you see these eyes, look at these eyes. There is such emotion in those eyes that he can be this killing, emotionless robot, and then he sees her, and even again you can see in those eyes, just painted on, they're just painted on, for Christ's sake, but the emotion is there, that he is like, it'll stop him in his tracks, and she can command him. When she passes out in his arms, he then carries her across into the swampy moorlands, pursued by this posse of local constabulary, all armed to the teeth. And then John Banning shouts out, "Isabel, command him, tell him to put you down," which she pretends to be his long lost love, and he will put her down. Whereupon he's then completely blown to bits in a torrent of shotgun blasts, and he sinks beneath the mud. But it is such a wonderful character, a character, and the makeup. Well, here you are, folks. Christopher Lee didn't have to suffer for his art. a mask was made. Roy Ashton created a mask, so Christopher Lee would sit there and have the mask, the mold taken and then the mask put onto his face, and then all this stuff applied, the mud, the wounds, the desiccation would be applied. How was he breathing, folks? Because Roy Ashton actually said, I forgot to put anything, any kind of gap in the mouth or the nostrils. So when he's sitting there and when he's performing, he's breathing through the holes in the eye holes. Now you imagine that, there's your nose, there's your mouth, and you're breathing from a tiny hole up here. Dear God. So he did suffer, and he hurt himself quite a bit by carrying, as Christopher Lee always said, I was forever carrying these beautiful women, but everyone forgets that they're meant to be passed out and unconscious, so they're just a dead weight. He pulled all his neck muscles, he did his back in, and it's a very physical role. Even though the mummy is, everyone thinks it's a slow, lumbering brute, but he's smashing through windows, he's smashing through doorways. He does a bit of back breaking and neck crunching. And when you see this coming through those French windows, oh my God. And suddenly, that slow gait, when his victim tries to run, it becomes a real lurching, sped up, attack. And it is. The Mummy, 1959, Terence Fisher, Hammer Films, is an absolute classic. So many great set pieces, so many great moments of sheer blood-curdling terror, and as I said before, such a gorgeously filmed and handsomely mounted production that it's endlessly rewatchable, totally enjoyable, and you've got a terrifying creature with pathos, tragedy and empathy that you feel for him. You understand what he's gone through and you feel for him at the same time as being totally terrified of him. Again, look at those eyes, look at them. Folks, here's the tag. I know people love to see the tags, and that's a great one as well. The classic, see, like, there's one of the infamous images. This is the old poster image, and it looks as though there's a hole blasted through him. He does get, various implements are plunged through his carcass, his bandaged carcass, and he is shotgunned to bits. But never do you see an image like that in the movie. This is actually sculpted by Jasper Anderson. Yeah, I had to read off the back of the thing there. I remember the name Jasper, but not the Anderson part. Isn't Jasper a great name? Jasper! In my neck of the woods, we used to call wasps Jaspers. I have no idea why. So in the summertime, like, you'd be out and you can of Coke and the wasps are coming in. You go, oh no, it's a Jasper! Get the Jasper away from me! Oh no, it's a fucking Jasper! But Jasper created this. And I can tell you, because I've been looking at pictures, I've got a lot of stills from the movie, I've got a lot of full colour stills and lobby cards and that, and he really has captured all the detail. Can you see here, this deep groove here, this scar, this crevice? That is totally accurate to what you see in the movie. On the right side of the face, and this chiselled in sort of gouging. And likewise, the way the ears are sort of like, utterly eroded and decomposed. Because what you're looking at here, folks, this is not bandages on his face here. This is the remains of his flesh. There's the bandages. And the rest of his body is pretty much encased in slippy, slithery, slimy, muck-encrusted bandages. But when he puts that hand out, in fact, yeah, look at this. We're going in, folks. Mummy, help me. Kharis, stop. Can you see how when you look down, he has that sorrowful look, that, oh my God, what's happened to me? I pledge my love to you, but I've been compelled to kill by Mehmet, the fez-wearing Mehmet. But like that, it's emotionless, it's blank, it's death. but like that, you feel sorry for him. There's a nice, slit up the back there for your easy access into your latex covering. For those who like this sort of thing, there is a mark on the inside, but sadly it's kind of rubbed away. So the typical pumpkin there, and it looks like there is a number in there or someone's initials. Well, Jasper Anderson maybe, but it's a bit smudged, so we can't really see that now. But take a journey around the back there. It is like the dark side of the moon, isn't it? Or maybe it's even like a bit of an alien, a xenomorph egg. But look at it. There's so much detail in all of this. It was described once, not the mask but the makeup, as like someone had just shoveled some Cocoa Pops all over Christopher Lee's face. Well, yeah, because he's dishevelled and it's desiccated and he's covered in mud, and then that mud has become encrusted to his noggin, giving him this very strange sort of look. But for my money, this mummy is the best one in town, and I love it. I love this. When I opened the box today when it arrived, and I'd seen images of it, but I hadn't seen anyone actually review this mask. So the reviews might be out there, I don't know, because as I said before, this did come out earlier. It is not part of this new run of Hammer and Universal and Scooby-Doo masks, although it fits right in with obviously the Hammer stuff, but it's not part of it because it came out months and months before. And I was talking to the people in Mad About Horror, and is it Louise who works there? I get the names. I always get the names wrong, don't I? Yeah, you know. You've just met me and you know I got the names wrong. And I think it's Louise. And she said, oh yeah, it came out months ago. It just came in and went. And then I was speaking to, the other guy. I forgot his name as well. And he's watching this. He was going like, oh, Kilt-Man, for God's sake. And he said it came in and went that quickly that he never even saw it when they first arrived. So that restock, people clearly were waiting for this, and it flew off straight. It arrived and then was boxed up and shipped out. So please, folks, if you can get hold of one of these, you really must, because this is absolutely tremendous. There is so much character, albeit you can see it's blank, isn't it? It's emotionless, and yet those eyes and the different angles you can put on it, you're creating a different look just by moving your head, moving the mask. You're getting this whole sense of pathos, and then this cold rage that's in there, this unstoppable monster at the whim of this fez wearing, well, you can understand why. He's pledged allegiance and all this, and like, how can you desecrate one of our sacred tombs? You infidels, and you must die. And this thing with Christopher Lee's towering stature coming at you, oh my God. There is no hole in the mouth here. Unlike poor Mr. Lee, we can breathe because we have got nostril holes, so that's all right. There's no holes in the ears. I'm lying, there is. There is a hole in the ear there. Let's just check the other one. Yes, there are holes in the ears. So you can hear when some nefarious Egyptian is commanding you to do some terrible, terrible deeds. You can hear him. But this is a work of art. Let's have a look at the eyes. Again, folks, I'm filming this nocturnally, so we have overhead lights on, and that kind of does give a strange cast to these videos. I know. It's making me look very pink, isn't it? But there is blood ringing these eyes, these sad brown eyes, but there is like a little, sliver of blood around, and you've got that glistening final veneer, which gives life to these eyes. And I always say about certain masks, and I always bang on about Ghoulish Productions and how they give this shiny sort of living veneer to like the final touch for their latex, and it gives the masks this life of their own, this vitality, this sheen. Well, you've got it here. You're not picking it up right now. I will totally concede that. But take it from me, those eyes are shining. They're glistening, which conveys that kind of agony and torment that Kharis is going through. Another reason why I like this character is because when I was a kid watching the old Hammer double bills on a Friday or Saturday night on the Beeb, and you know, obviously all the Universal movies have been on as well, so I'd seen all those as well, and I love the fact that he was called Kharis, because my real name isn't Kilt-Man, it's Chris, and Kharis is like an exotic version of Chris, so it is Kharis. Of course, the name would be used again. Hammer would do a slew of mummy movies, like Universal did. And of course, none of the sequels were anywhere near as good as the original. And the funny thing about the Universal run of mummy movies was that the original Mummy, the Boris Karloff one, is so atypical of what the Mummy films are, because the Mummy is basically, he's not swathed in bandages and he's a very intelligent man. He's doing his deeds and all that, but it's a very slow-moving movie. Whereas all the sequels would feature a slow-moving monster who was just doing the bidding of somebody else. And that became the template for pretty much all the Mummy movies until Arnold Vosloo and Brendan Fraser, you know, took on the mantle of mummy mashing and mangling. But folks, just feast your eyes on this, this arid desert of Cocoa Pops, this bewildering, blistering, creviced, cratered and pitted, you know, countenance. He's like, what are you gonna? What? Yeah, the lighting is terrible. I know. Unlike Jack Asher, who photographed your film, who used all coloured gels. A lot of the Hammer movies, they would use the experimental coloured gels to give those beautiful, really, you know, the Hammer lurid colour, that technicolor, you know, and it really does have a glow to it, a sheen to it, a radiance, which is breathtaking to behold. You know, they were shot on a budget, using the same places with the same cast and crew, moving from production to production. Some films shot back to back, you know, the same set would be re-utilised, and that was the way that Hammer operated. But man, did it work, and boy, did you get some bang for your buck. Those films looked glorious. They still do look glorious, and even like anything that was like a set-bound, you know, forest or a castle, yes, you knew it was the same building just redressed, but it still worked so well. And the quality of those films, you know, obviously speaks for itself, because even though, you know, I know what that is, and he played that, Michael Ripper crops up all the time as a peasant, a drunk, a villager, you know, whatever. He's always there. He's in this as well, and you know, even though you can see all these tropes just being trotted out all over again, you're so invested in it. And they're short movies. They're all like 90 minutes tops, really. And in that, you're getting great characters, a great story. You're getting action, and you're getting a little bit of gore and some titillation. So, you know, what's not to love? Hammer rules. And here he is. And here's his theme playing. So, pity those French windows. And it's always great that you hear him outside. So the victim inside, look, will turn. There's something out there. And then you might see a shadow loom up behind the curtains. And then the whole thing shatters. And then this comes lumbering in. It is utterly fantastic. And the sheer strength, the back-breaking moment when he turns on, you know, his tormentor, Mehmet, the one who's actually commanding him. Because, you know, no, there's Princess Ananka. Well, he doesn't say it, he's thinking it though. And he turns on Mehmet and does this awful back-breaking moment. It's just fantastic stuff. And Tots have knocked this out of the park. This is glorious, glorious. This bodes exceptionally well for the masks which are, well, in the States, many people have got them already. I've seen their pictures on Facebook and on the trick-or-treat sites and all that, and forum pages. So I've seen these things, and oh God, I want them all. I want them all. Do you understand me? But right now, I am very, very happy with this. Look at how the eyes, the actual eye sockets, are reset, depressed. So you've got this brow, the strong nose, that strong, noble nose of Christopher Lee, that aristocratic, profile that he has. Look at it, it's almost like a Roman bust, isn't it? And Christopher Lee's very, very fond of this film. He loves this soundtrack, he loves the movie. He doesn't have very fond memories of actually making it because he did not have a good time in this makeup. It was punishing, it was grueling. And I've just kicked over about 10 CDs there. But, folks, there you go again. Look at it. If you can, if you have any love for Hammer movies, and this one in particular, oh, you need to get this. This looks wonderful. Since I took it out the box today, and I've been working from home, I kept looking around because I put it over there, and I kept looking around, and this was just looking back at me. And I thought, oh, these look wonderful, wonderful. And then I compared it to all the pictures that I had, and found that the faithfulness and the authenticity and the accuracy is truly astonishing. No, it really is, folks. I'm trying to show you some of the blood around those baleful eyes. It is there. The sculpt is amazing. The paintwork, tremendous. The whole thing, the quality of it, and look how it holds its shape. Look at that. There's not, that does not cave in. There's nothing in there. I've not padded this out in the least, except with my own mush. So that holds itself perfectly well. And it is glorious. Again, look, that comes at you. It's not thinking, it's not feeling, it's remorseless. It'll do its bidding. Like a Terminator, it absolutely will not stop until you are dead. And then it encounters what he thinks is Princess Ivanka. And then he looks down. He's ashamed of himself. Look at it. You can see how that changes the face. Look. Don't look at me like this. That reminds me of someone else who looks a mess, who falls in love and comes back from the grave. Frank in Hellraiser. And just make this all pink and livid with veins and, flayed skin and all the sinew and muscle there. And you've got the same face. It is the same face. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. Folks, Hammer's the Mummy, 1959. Christopher Lee as Kharis. Returned from the tomb to destroy the desecrators and defilers. Wonderful, wonderful movie. And a fabulous mask from Jasper Anderson and Trick or Treat Studios. That is an absolute grisly work of art. I'm utterly, smitten and highly impressed. Very pleased with it. If you can get it, God, send out your own mummy to go and get one for you. He'll stop at nothing until he brings it back and places it on your sacrificial sarcophagus. Folks, I'm sure you'll agree. Wonderful stuff. There you go. I have been, and always shall be, Kilt-Man, and I will always be at your service. Please, in the meantime, and that archaeological in-between time, take it easy, be happy, be healthy, and keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all. Can someone fix those French windows, please? It's getting drafty in here.